Hey there, spooky faces. How was that? Was that good? I'm trying something new. Um, I want to find something to call you guys, my friends out there, because I don't know. I just think it's time. I've been here long enough. I need like a name for my peeps over here. Anyways, this is Mackenzie and Madison. Mackenzie is the one with her eyes open. Madison is the one with her eyes closed, giving you the I don't want to deal with you hand, which is so cute. I love these two. They were painted by Tasha of Pixie Mommy's Reborns, and of course sculpted by Chenza. Both very beautiful, talented, amazing ladies, and I'm very honored to have the combination of their incredible artistry in my home. I love these two so much. Anyways, I'm not here to talk about them, as adorable as they are. I'm here to talk about Genesis a little more, and also the brand that's being recommended as a stand-in or dupe for Genesis, which is called Kibelka. I wasn't able to find a lot of information on this brand. I think it's fairly new. The thinning medium, thick medium, and matte varnish from the Kibelka brand was released in June. I believe it was June or end of May at McPherson's, and I grabbed one of the thinning mediums right away because thinning medium and a mix of Genesis mediums is one of the first things I use on dolls. It's one of the first things a lot of people use on dolls because it helps the paint grip better and just makes the whole experience a lot easier and a lot smoother. So I was very excited because Genesis thinning medium had been out for a long time. Everybody was kind of stressing. And so I ordered it right away and I was very excited, and it was represented as being the same as Genesis. So I followed the same instructions that I would with Genesis. And the results were a disaster. It would not cure. I put it on thin layer as you do with Genesis thinning medium and put it in the oven, and it came out wet and sticky as if I had just put it on the kit. There was no heat set situation happening, which, you know, this is kind of one of those scenarios where it's like you got one job, right? You heat set paint, you got one job. And it went in the oven several times. It took about 10 times for it to actually set and be dry to the touch and look like Genesis. And that's been the experience that a lot of people have had, really struggling to get it to cure in the oven. And I did submit a support ticket to McPherson's back in June. I let them know my experience. They went over, you know, how are you using it? And so, of course, I described it, which, you know, it's not rocket science. And they said, yeah, that sounds good. Here's a video. I'm not sure why it's not working. We've had good reviews. And I've talked to 4 or 5 other artists that have been doing this for some time, like a decade. I mean, I've been working with Genesis for about 10 years and painting dolls, and so I'm not a new artist. These people are seasoned artists that are having this same issue with it not curing. So at this point, I'm not rushing to recommend Kibelka to anyone. I would like to see how the paints perform. I would like more people to get their 2 cents in. I'm also not saying they don't work. What I'm saying is I don't have much to say until, you know, the paints come out and more people use them and all of that. But at this point, I would not recommend them. I would not recommend someone go out and invest hundreds of dollars, as you would when you have a whole new set of paints that you're going to do. I would not recommend someone go out and invest hundreds of dollars in this brand until we can see more of how it actually performs. I'm going to read something to you. This is from illusionbaby.es. So this is the most information I could find, really, on these paints and mediums. It's under the description for the Kibelka matte toner. So be similar to matte varnish if it's Genesis, right? Kibelka paints, alternative to Genesis to paint reborn babies. The Kibelka range was born in 2021 to provide an alternative in terms of availability before the break in the manufacture of Genesis paints. From our warehouse, we have tested the quality of these paints, and we can say that they have excellent results considering the method of use and compatibilities. I'm not sure exactly what they mean by that, but that's what it says. This makes them a first-level paint for our reborn kits. The range of Kibelka paints is made up of 3 mediums and 11 colors, dividing it into 2 groups. On the one hand, the basic colors that are 6, and on the other hand, the formulated colors, which we can find the color of the folds, which would be creases, another for the veins, and finally the flesh color. Considerations to take into account. Compatible with Genesis paints. Kibelka mediums cannot be mixed with Genesis mediums and varnish. The mixtures to remove byproducts are not done the same as in Genesis, such as the skin effect. The skin effect is achieved with the thick of Kibelka. The Kibelka matte mattizer is not a varnish. It is applied to mattify the paint. You must use 1 part of Kibelka matte, 10 parts solvent. If this part is not done correctly, it can make the kit turn white, spoiling the entire job. It does not serve to give texture, for that the thick medium would be used. It is not used to seal, it is sealed with the thick. It must be baked for 8 minutes at 130 degrees Celsius to seal the layers of paint, which is roughly 266 Fahrenheit, so similar to Genesis. The skin effect layer that occurs with the thick should not be too thick to avoid problems with drying. The thinning should be kept in the refrigerator. Now this part is interesting to me because not only was I not advised to keep mine in the refrigerator, nor was it shipped in a refrigerated container, there is nothing, as you can see, on this bottle to indicate that it needs to be refrigerated before or after opening or whatever. It says nothing. So it's possible that I got a bad batch, though it would be an awfully big coincidence if the other 4 or 5 people I know that have had these experiences of it not curing also got the same bad batch, but it's possible. It's possible that was part of the first batch that was released and it just something was off. It's possible that I was supposed to refrigerate it and didn't know that. Although, since it isn't recommended anywhere on the jar and wasn't recommended when I ordered it, I doubt the people that are having good experiences are refrigerating it either. So, you know, everything's a little iffy right now. The other thing is, this can't be exactly like Genesis, because the whole reason Genesis is going out of business is because they can't source 1 or more of the ingredients necessary to make the Genesis paints and mediums we've all become very accustomed to. They did say in their press release that they had a new formula and it wasn't performing like the old one, which makes me think, again, I have no confirmation of this, but this makes me think that perhaps the Kibelka formula is similar to Genesis' new formula that people haven't had good results with. And like I said, I can't say yes or no to that. I have no confirmation of that. It's just, you know, a logical suspicion based on the information I have. At this point, I would not feel comfortable recommending this brand, especially as a dead-on dupe for Genesis. It, to me, is not performing the way Genesis has. So I'm not comfortable recommending it. I would hate to see someone go out and spend hundreds of dollars and invest all of this time and money and have it not work. I'm also not comfortable saying it doesn't work because I have limited experience with just this one container of the thinning medium. So I don't know. I'll have to see how other people use it, if there's tips and tricks, if it does need to be refrigerated. And that's the problem. I don't know. I just know that this is a first layer on a lot of people's dolls using thinning medium either by itself or with other mediums. So if the first layer is messed up, every layer on top of that is also going to be messed up. So like if you look at it as fingernail polish, right? If you put your second, third, fourth layer of fingernail polish on top of the first layer that isn't dry, it's not going to set properly. So that's a big concern. So really what I'm telling you is I don't know. I don't know what to think about this brand. I think that we need more time. I would be comfortable maybe trying it out a few colors when the paints come out, try a few colors. But like I said, I'm not going to be rushing out to spend a bunch of money and replace all of my Genesis with this brand because I haven't seen good results yet. And I have not heard in my personal circle of friends who've been doing this for a long time, I have not heard good things. So that's where I'm at, guys. I I just, like I said, I would hate to see someone rush out and spend a bunch of money, especially, I make dolls for myself, for my own collection. Occasionally I'll make some for friends. It's been a very long time since I've done a custom order or painted a doll for sale. So there's not as much risk involved in me trying something new as there is with people where this is their living. This is how they make their money. This is their bread and butter. So not only is it risky for them to go out and spend a whole bunch of money on something that perhaps isn't performing the way that they expect or well or whatever, but it's also risky because if you send out dolls and the paint is not cured properly, the paint's not going to stay on the doll. We have an expectation that was set by Genesis Paint that it's going to be durable and that we can change these dolls and we can interact with them on a daily basis, and a lot of people do. And that's sort of what reborns are for. We don't hang them on the wall like a traditional painting. So if the paint's not going to stand up to that, then that's something that people need to know, because customers are coming and they're spending hundreds to thousands of dollars on these dolls with that expectation in mind. So what I don't want to see is artists spending a bunch of money sending out dolls, the paint starts coming off because it doesn't cure properly, and now they've got another financial mess with people filing chargebacks through PayPal and wanting to return that could potentially be a giant mess. And as an artist myself, and just as a decent human being, I don't want to be recommending something that may not work and that may get someone in a whole lot of hot water. I mean, there are people, a lot of people, who make these dolls to pay rent. And I would hate to see someone have their living situation, like it's that serious, guys, have their living situation in jeopardy or food on the table for their family over rushing to recommend some paint.
Moving pretty quick there. Why don't you have a seat right over there?
So, like I said, not saying it doesn't work, not saying it does work, just sharing my very limited experience. I probably will buy a few of the colors and try them out on some test limbs. I mean, you gotta love a test limb, right? These limbs that you have sitting around and you can test out new techniques and whatever. I mean, I would advocate doing that. Maybe buy a couple. But until I see some more evidence of this working properly, and like I said, either this is a bad batch or I didn't refrigerate it because I didn't know I was supposed to, or whatever the case. I'm rooting for this brand, you guys. I'm rooting for there to be heat set paints that work as well as Genesis. But the logical assumption that we kind of have to make is that Genesis is going out of business not because no one wants to buy it. That's certainly not the issue. They're going out of business because they can't source one or more of the ingredients necessary to make their paint perform as it has, as we've all gotten accustomed to it working. So it would stand to reason then that this company, Kibelka, isn't able to source that ingredient either. So it's not the same as Genesis. It can't be, or Genesis would still be making their paint. So all I'm saying is I would caution anyone going out and replacing all of their stuff with this, and let's just see how it goes. That's all I'm saying. So anyways, guys, I hope that makes sense. As always, I don't want to see anybody in hot water when it's not necessary, So I think people need to slow their roll a little bit in recommending this, and let's just see how it goes. So anyways, that's it. Love you guys. I hope you're having a great week, and I'll be back soon with some other commentary about something else, I'm sure. Bye, guys.